This is the 2025 Toyota 4Runner Trailhunter, and it's been a minute since we've had a new and completely updated version. 15 years, in fact. The Trailhunter is a brand new trim, and it offers more on-road comfort in addition to the off-road ability. So today, I'm going to test it and see how good it really is. So the 4Runner has been substantially changed, but just by looking at it, you wouldn't think it really had. But a lot of that is under the skin. Now it sits on the Toyota TNGA platform used by the Tacoma, the Tundra, the Sequoia, and of course the Land Cruiser, which means it's a body-on-frame construction, live rear axle, and independent front suspension. So mechanically, the Trailhunter shares a lot of its components with the TRD Pro version, and price-wise, they're pretty much the same. They sit at the top of Toyota's pricing for the 4Runner. More on pricing in a bit. So the 4Runner Trailhunter rolls on these 33-inch Toyo Open Country 3 tires, which are surprisingly quiet, very comfortable on-road, and really good off-road. And they ride on these 18-inch alloy wheels. TRD Pro and this Trailhunter model share a wider track by 3.2 inches. And at the back, there's a 2-inch lift, and at the front, a 1.5-inch lift. So Trailhunter models get a disconnecting sway bar. It's electronically controlled from a button inside the cab. You also get a rear locker, no center locker. We'll go into that later on. You also get the MTS system, the multi-terrain system, which is absolutely excellent. And you also get a camera system as well to spot any obstacles while you're off-road. So the biggest difference between this one and the TRD Pro is the dampers. On the TRD Pro, you get Fox shocks, great for tearing down and racing in the Baja 1000. This one has Old Man Emu shocks, which by the name you should guess are in fact Australian, and they are designed for slower, more technical off-roading. So this one, and it's great news for me, does not have a sunroof. Why? Because apparently this ARB roof rack can support up to 700 pounds, and with a sunroof, where are you going to put your tent? So this one and the TRD Pro get the hybridized version of the 2.4 litre 4-cylinder turbocharged gas engine. It's got 325 horsepower, 465 foot-pounds of torque, driven through a really good 8-speed automatic, 0 to 66 in around 6.7 seconds. The hybrid system does not really help with fuel economy though. So you'll notice here that you get a snorkel, but it's not really a snorkel because it's not meant to increase the water wading depth for this vehicle. Instead, it's designed specifically to provide clean air to the engine, because Toyota says that the people that buy this car are going to go in dusty areas, and the old intake was underneath the car and it would get a lot of dust drawn into the engine. The downside of this is it makes quite a noise, and when you're sitting in the passenger seat, it feels like you've got the AC on full, whistling outside the window. Plenty of room in the back, apart from the hybrid system does encroach with this quite large bump right here. There's a little bit of space under here for a few things. This one has an option of the luggage cover, and it also gets an air compressor. Put the seats down, get a little bit more space. Of course, you'll notice when you do put the seats down, they sort of fold back up like that. So you get this little step here, and that's obviously on lesser models, you can actually get a third row of seats. All right, hop into the back and you've got a decent amount of room. Legroom's okay, the seat isn't all the way back. Headroom is okay for me as well. Seats are pretty comfortable. You do get, when you pull on this lever, the ability to recline a little bit, which isn't too bad. You also get a couple of cup holders, vents, but no controls, an AC 120 volt down here, and then 2 USBs. Materials-wise, it's all this soft tex, which is a polite way of saying it's plastic, but the fit and finish and the feel of the materials is really good. Nice rubberized handles on the doors, and then an extra cup holder right here on both sides. Nice at the front, this is where you notice most of the design changes, but it's got a very sort of rugged appeal to it. And the seats are genuinely comfortable. They've got good bolstering, a little bit of sort of orange pattern right here. Makes it a little sporty look. Seats are all electric, which is nice, and on both sides, height adjustable and everything else. And again, the quality of the materials is what you would expect in a Toyota. So inside the 4Runner is a serious step up from the last generation model. And of course, it's dominated by this huge 14-inch screen. Of course, what we really like are these physical controls, and they've got that sort of rugged quality to them. Big chunky knobs for controlling the temperature. It's also got a heated steering wheel and these little sort of rocker switches all the way down here to control different modes. It's also got heated and cooled seats, including the passenger. So ahead of the shifter, you get a nice spot here to prop your phone up, or you can put it on the wireless charger, or you can plug in using the 2 USBs or this little 12 volt right here. All right, so on to the off-road modes. We've got 2 high, 4H, and 4 low. This is the controller that you're going to use. It's got your tow haul button, multi-terrain select, your crawl control, and also drive modes. So we're going to put it in neutral, turn it into 4 high. See on the dash there? Go back here, put it into 4 low. It's in red, 4 low. Typically, if the hybrid system is working, when you put it in 4 low, the engine almost always comes on. I think it always does. Right now we can go to drive, and we can click MTS, and we can choose between auto, which is where I leave it, sand, mud, rock, and back to auto. Auto, the system figures it out on its own, and it's really, really good. And these graphics are also pretty cool. And this one's your crawl control. You can go low to high in speed. You just turn it with the controller down here by the shifter. And when you're in 4 low, hit the view camera. Got a bunch of information. This is your tilt, incline. You've got cameras to the side. These are really useful for rocks. You've got a camera at the front and another camera on the other side. Final button is drive mode, and it gives you eco, normal, and sport. And then here's your stabilizer bar. You can disconnect the front one only, and it's electronically controlled by this button right here. And then here's your rear locker. Activate the rear locker when you get in slip between that axle. So if one wheel's slipping or it's on a different surface, it'll transfer to the wheel that has more grip. Now this one does not have a center lock. It's a 2-wheel drive, and it uses a transfer case. Unlike the GS 550 Overtrail Plus had a center locker, because that's permanent all-wheel drive, and you use the switch or the locker to lock the center diff, making it into essentially a 4-wheel drive vehicle. You get a ton of switches here. There's one blank, but most of them are filled. Automatic headlights, traction control off, the AC 120, that controls the rear hatch, and then you've got 4 AUXs for additional items you wanted to add. And finally, this one comes with memory seats. All right, let's take a drive on pavement first. See how it goes. I do have it in sport mode. When you have it in sport mode, I've noticed that the exhaust is a little bit louder, but it's not kind of obnoxious. I felt that the old TRD Pro had slightly annoying droney exhaust. I think it was a catback exhaust. This one doesn't make the same annoying noise. In fact, it's quite good, but I think it's overshadowed by the noisy NOT Snorkel. The NOT Snorkel is much louder when you're in sport mode. You could probably hear it. I think some people will like it. I think it's fine when you're on your own, but if you are sitting in the passenger seat, it does get quite loud. So these Toyo tires, they're pretty good. They're very quiet on road, which is what I like. So we'll get out of this little spot. We'll take it for a drive, and then we're going to hit up the off-road course and give this thing a proper test. So let's see here. transmission is not programmed for outright speed. Oh, and one thing, I think I said it had 326 horsepower, 465 foot-pounds of torque. With that NOT Snorkel, you lose 3 horsepower. So it handles pretty well in the turns, a lot better than the old one did. And even this one handles well, despite wearing these big, chunky tires. Brakes, not bad. I didn't really smash them on too hard, but I mean, 0 to 60 in 6.7 seconds is a little bit quicker than the outgoing model, although that car was 15 years old, so it better be quicker. So it's not exactly cheap. How much is it? $66,900 is the base price of a Trailhunter. There's a few add-ons, including the luggage cover that I showed you earlier, and then out the door, including a destination, is a tiny little bit under $70,000. And that's probably going to have the old 4Runner turning in its grave. Little pricey, but prices for the SR5 base model do start around $40,000. Right, let's turn off to our off-road spot. All right, so here we are at the off-road spot. Let's see how this 4Runner Trailhunter goes. MTS in auto, 4-wheel low, romps up. 10.1 inches of ground clearance, and we're not having a problem. We did scrape a little bit coming down. I feel like nothing's going to stop this thing. A bit of slip on the back wheel, but MTS coped with it. I told him to take the most difficult route possible, and he has. I actually got a Ram Rebel stuck here and had to roll back because it refused to go up this loose rock. Wow, we're digging in, we're digging in. Try the rear locker. All right, go for it. A little more gas and you got it, I think. So it wouldn't go up there with crawl control, but it would go up there with the rear locker locked. With the rear locker locked, it deactivates the crawl control and the human behind the wheel takes over. He's going to take the rocky route. Suspension travel. All right, we'll try something a little bit more difficult, a tad steeper, definitely more rocks, and a tiny water hazard. Wow, too easy. All right, so we're going to test one wheel on this dirt on the left-hand side, one wheel on that loose rock. Big rock now, gas. Okay, slow, slow. Okay, you're good, straighten up. Slow. So what do we think? Well, the problem I think for the 4Runner, and don't get me wrong, because I know there are aficionados of the 4Runner that love this car, but it sits between, on the high end, the GX 550 Lexus Overtrail and the Land Cruiser. And I've driven all three of those cars, and I know which one I like. They're all slightly different tools for the job. This one, kind of expensive at $70,000. You can probably get a Land Cruiser for a little bit cheaper, but the base prices on this start in the 40s, so you can get a base car. But if off-roading is your thing, this is great off-road, really good on-road. It's just a really hard one to pick. Anyway, once again, thanks for watching. We appreciate it. Like, subscribe, and we'll catch you next time with another video.